Hello all, it's the Mad Racket Scientist. So the problem we're solving today is one I just found with one of my rackets. This is a Dunlop Aerogel 200. Anyway, so the issue with this one is that it has, see how the string pattern is so dense? It's not very dampened, it's not very loose. It's 64 RA, which means it's too efficient for someone like me who really likes that plush feel to like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the stringing pattern actually to try and make it work for me. So let's see what we can do. So the only reason you would ever do something like this on a tennis frame is if you are it's outdated and you know you're not ever going to get a warranty on this, or B, you're desperate. I am both. This racket's very old. I got it for 20 bucks. Just because it's a 95 square inch racket, which those are really hard to come by, and 20 bucks is not a bad deal. But here's the deal. It's too stiff. So what we can do is we can lower the number of crosses and make it to where when we hit the ball, it's going to sink in more and have more pocketing. And that was the main problem with it. It felt stiff as a board. And that's because it was. So here we go. All right. So the method to the madness is, since this is 18 by 20, the lowest I really want to go down to is going to be 18 by 14. And that's just that way I feel like I have a more uniform string bed. Obviously, again, not advised for your frames. So I made these markings right here with a little bit of Sharpie. I can just wipe it off afterwards. It's fine. But what I did was the method I used was I measured from here to here, this biggest gap right here, and found that's around 2 centimeters. So I'm going to measure from each string progressively, and these strings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, were the ones that did not, they were too short of a gap in between. So it's really going to open up right here and allow for more grip and more spin. All right, so it's time to modify it. I'm going to put it on time lapse so you can see the whole thing in just a few seconds. All right, so here's the finished result. Crazy wide gaps. Here's the ball next to it. That is going to spin like crazy. So this string pattern officially is a 18 main by 14 cross pattern. I'm not sure I've ever heard of a racket do that before. I've heard of 14 by 18, but not the other way around. So tomorrow I'm gonna go out on court and film some on court, like just court level of me hitting with this frame. See you on court. All right, here we are. We're out on court. We're just gonna do some court level hitting with both the spin effect frame. So this one, so it's 18 by 14, and the Stefano Tsitsipas customized frame. So here we go. It's 28 degrees, so the ball's gonna really suck, but yeah, here we go. All right, I'm mic'd up. I'm gonna be hitting with the extreme spin pattern. But whoa! All right, so it has tons of spin right off the bat. Ooh, almost hit the camera there. Not terrible though. So yeah, it has a lot of spin, which I'm not surprised about at all. However, it's not very controllable, and I can't really augment it intentionally. So, and then also see how high that feed was. I barely hit the ball. So it has a massive launch angle, which it can be good in some cases, but like for now, I'm having to switch. Ooh, this isn't very good. Anyway, I'm having to switch to my more aggressive grip styles, so like semi-western, to even make it into court. Otherwise, the ball's just sailing. But yeah, I mean, overall, it feels nice. It's pretty comfortable. I don't feel any weird vibrations or anything when I'm hitting with it. But the biggest problem is that it has just too much of a launch angle. So if you play with a more aggressive grip, you might like this style of play. But if you play Eastern or like a more flat game, it's not going to work very well. Just simply because of that. Like, this is me playing Eastern right now, and nothing has made it within 4 feet of the baseline. Unless I swing really far behind it, which I am now. This isn't bad, but okay, actually, I like this now. Ooh, almost made it. But so yeah, this isn't terrible now actually. Once I really started swinging behind it, I could really feel the ball dip. If I really feel myself reaching out to the ball, I get better pocketing on it too, which I think is just me getting a better contact on the sweet spot of the ball. So, or sorry, the sweet spot of the racket. So, yeah. Also, one thing that's cool, see how far it's moved? This is the first time I really hit with it. It's already dead. So, it's moving a ton and it's notching a ton too. That's what that means.
Trying out both these rackets. Trying out this, I think he said it was 14 by 18 or 18 by 14. So we'll see how I do with it. Overall, pretty solid. The launching was really high, but if you hit with enough spin, it brings it down and you get a really nice heavy deep ball. Yeah, no, I really like it a lot. A little tough to control at times, but it's good. Very good.
All right, so if you've gotten to this point in the video, you might as well like, subscribe, and comment whatever your thoughts are. I would love to hear them, and I'd love to respond to them. However, here is just a small overview of this, and also I didn't film this because I didn't have much time, you know, with all my other priorities in the day and all that stuff, but I made a different version, so if you can see that any better. This is a 10 by 12, so 10 mains by 12 crosses. It has a very large amount of bite on the ball, so it has a lot of bite, has a lot of snapback. See an entire main moving with it. It's just crazy. Now, my review of, we're gonna do the 18 by 12 first, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what the string pattern was, but yeah, it was 18 by 12. So the 18 by 12, it played good enough, really. The main problems, it had a couple of problems. So the main problems, and this could probably be fixed by tension or anything like that, is I could not try to hit a flat shot. If I tried to hit a flat shot, it would soar every time. And I believe that was just because there's not enough string bed density. And it's also, the gap was too condensed into that one area. So instead of it being equal, see how this is like dense and then absolutely like nothing from here to here? Like there's so much space here, but there's not much here. So that makes it to where the string bed, the power potential is condensed right here, and there's not much out here. So what happens is it's not very friendly when it comes to like trying to make sure you're hitting the sweet spot and all that stuff. But it has a lot of power potential overall, because once you really hit the center of the string bed, it's going to flex and really allow for that pop. So yeah, if you want a more comfortable experience with it, I give this a 9 out of 10. Just because, and when I say this, I mean the green version, the 18 by 12, and that's just because it really didn't have any efficiency in the frame. And what I mean by that is my energy going into the ball wasn't really that efficient. So most of it was going into deformation of the string bed. Not much of it was really going through the racket into the ball. So that means it has very high entropy levels. But the good news is if you don't have very good fundamentals, that entropy takes away from arm damage that occurs. So it helps your arm last longer in a match. So, however, if you want control, steer clear. 1 out of 10 on control. The only way I was able to even keep the ball in the court was if I just stay behind it the whole time. I couldn't try to hit through it or anything like that. Your goal should be to stay behind it, but you should be able to feel relaxed too. I felt like I had to like really like just make sure I didn't hit through it, to the point where I was even hitting like Manarino, where I was just scooping at the back of the ball sometimes, which it doesn't really lead to good fundamentals that way. So control, 1 out of 10, terrible. Power, again, 9 out of 10. Has tons of power. It's very easily accessible. Yes, this is a 95, so it has a really small head size, but reality is it's pretty stiff for a 95, and this oblong shape makes it to where is the main is as long as what roughly 100 would be, so it has a lot of power. But naturally it's just not going to be as forgiving, because in order for it to be 95, you have to then shrink the width of the frame. You can't have it be as circular. It has to be more of an ellipse or oblong shape. So power, 9 out of 10. Not really hard to understand that one. Spin, I'm gonna give it probably 8 out of 10. And the reason I give it an 8 out of 10 is because the spin, it had a ton of spin. Like the ball would dip in the whole time if I stayed behind it, all that stuff. But it just didn't pair well with the power and the comfort, because it it felt like all of my effort would go to waste. And if I just if I was hitting in a way to where I wasn't actually using my body, it would go in, and it really didn't bode well for me on the court. I played against Matt. I did a practice thing, and it was just, you can get to 10 first. Feeding, you do one clean feed, one ball back clean, and then you start. We did that, and I used this racket, not the green, and I didn't play well, dude. I mean, I lost 2-10. So, however, I played again and I lost 10-8 because I started to get really dialed in on it. It's really hard to miss when you're not really trying necessarily. So that made it more easy. Strategically, I had to do a lot more though. So it was a much different playing experience than my normal racket, where I can just swing freely and relax and let all the power transmit without having to try and control it physically. Now, this one, I didn't really hit against a player. I hit against a wall with it. This one's even worse, funnily enough. Just kidding. Yeah. Now, I will say with this, I used round strings. I didn't have any shape strings. The green one did have shape strings in the mains. So this one has less bite with the string itself. But because, I can literally stick 2 fingers through there in the center of the frame, it has an incredible amount of bite. So it has, and then also, see how it's more evenly distributed, or distributed? Yeah. It's more evenly distributed in this frame, the spacing. So it's much easier for me to hit the ball and kind of feel that connection to it. So I felt like I could relax more with this racket. Yeah, I had weird shots sometimes where I think what happened was the ball got caught on this one, kind of like underneath it a little bit, and so it launched it, just gone. And so I think if I was designing a racket to be like this, I would take the size of this towards my finger and just make it the whole thing instead of giving it this gap and stuff. And that wasn't the design of the racket. That's just me fooling around with it. But at the same time, that is a good design note. If someone were to make a racket like that, that's what I would recommend, because I feel like you would get all the bite that you need. But on top of that, you wouldn't have it launching a ball because of a mishit on the main, where it's not supposed to be able to happen. So yeah, theoretically, are these rackets legal? Yes. I could go into an ATP match with this and they wouldn't bat an eye. Well, everyone would be staring, but they wouldn't bat an eye. So same with the other one, because all the crosses are weaved correctly, all the knots are tied right. Sure, there's a bunch of open holes and everything like that, but I didn't break any rules technically. So in fact, I know a racket company who made rackets like this, where they just basically, you had to play with a 13 gauge string in order for it to last long. And players got really addicted to it, but the issue was that they didn't actually try to push selling the rackets. So I'm pretty sure they went bankrupt. I'll need to look into my history on that. But yeah, so that's my overview of these. Do I recommend it? If you want to try a crazy experiment, go for it. I would leave the extra mains in there and divide the crosses by 2 and just stick with that, and try to space out the crosses as evenly as possible. That way you have a more consistent feeling string bed. Unlike this felt like garbage sometimes. And then if you're trying to fool around with the mains, I wouldn't. The racket is weaker in that area. So this is something only I would recommend myself doing, because I know this racket's garbage and I can just chunk it if it breaks. But I wouldn't recommend anyone else doing it, because also there's dangers. Like, let's say this were to shatter. Graphite is extremely sharp when it's broken. And also the little fibers can get into your hair follicles, into your skin. They can pierce stuff, and they can cause infections. So it's not a very good idea to try this on your own. I recommend not trying it ever. But I was able to try it for y'all and give you my experience on it. So yeah. Cheers. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Comment whatever your requests are for a new video. I'm totally open to ideas, so go ahead and list them off to me. And also, so here's the deal. When I have part of what I do is I will make these machines by myself because I am honestly I am extremely cheap with all of my machines and what I use. So like for instance, my stringer over there that I use is a Turner 175 CS. It's a drop weight stringer, 6-point mounting system. So it's USRSA approved for stringing. So it's very, very good, but at the same time it's super cheap. It was like $700, which for a stringer, if you know what you're talking about, that is very cheap. The setup I use for checking the balance, swing weight, the stiffness, all that stuff, I made it myself. I made all the math behind it. I made all of that. So, and I also engineered it to where it's actually sometimes more accurate than, let's say, like Babolat's version. Now, more on that later. However, if you do want to see how to make your own, for like just for the balancer and the static weight machine, I think it's like $80 to make it, and the math behind it isn't hard at all. So if you want to see how to make your own, comment below and I'll set up a subscriber count thing or something like that. I'm thinking 1,000 subscribers for the entire thing, but depending on how fast this grows, it may change. So anyway, thanks for watching again, and I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers.